Bryan Singer, thank you for X-Men Days of Future Past. I did not expect this movie to be that good. I even checked up the Rotten Tomato score right before I went to go see this, and I have to say I did not expect to see a 91%, especially for an X-Men movie. A 91%, who would have thought? So after walking out of the theaters, I have to say the score is justified. It is pretty good. This movie justifies why we needed X-Men 3, The Last Stand, and X-Men Origins Wolverine, because it rights all the wrongs of those two movies. From now on, there's going to be spoilers, so if you're really interested in watching this movie and you haven't seen it yet, go see this movie. Go watch it. Really, stop this video, go watch it. And if you want to continue this video, no problem. Almost everyone from First Class and X-Men Trilogy came back. Halle Berry's back as Storm, and if people don't like Halle Berry's portrayal as Storm, well, don't worry about it, because she only has one line of dialogue in this, and she's only in it for like 10 minutes max, and all she does is just badass lightning moves. That's it. Colossus is back. Barely says a word, but he's good for the action scenes. He's a heavy hitter, and he looks great, and CG on him looks fantastic, even better than X2 and X-Men 3. They really improved on him, and I really like that. Iceman is back, Shawn Ashmore, and I am so glad they have his ability of turning his entire body into ice. I like that effect in X-Men 3, The Last Stand, and here it just looks fantastic. The CG work on his face and everything looks great, and he actually surfs. He ice surfs. That was brilliant, and he was trying to take down one Sentinel. Jennifer Lawrence is back as Mystique, and yeah, she was great in this. In First Class, I thought that she was a bit annoying, but I did like her as a Mystique. And here, the makeup effect really improved. She really looks like a young Rebecca Stamos, and she's hot. She's really fit. She's naked. She's blue under the body paint. You see her breasts and ass, and my god, and she does the Black Widow stunts, and if that was 100% Jennifer Lawrence, then girl, you rock. She is great as Mystique, and I like that she's more of a main character in this movie. The movie mostly focuses on her, because she's the reason why the future's all messed up, and she didn't even want it like that. She didn't think the future would be like that. You would think that Wolverine would be the main character in this. No, it's actually Mystique and Charles Xavier, young and old Magneto. Wolverine is in this, but he's more of a supporting character. Actually, he's more like a plot device. He's going from the future to the past because they need him to do that. Nicholas Hoult is great as Beast, and the CG effect on him looks much better than in First Class. I am so happy about it. It's a mix of First Class, but leaning towards X-Men 3 The Last Stand. Here, he looks great, and also you get to see Kelsey Grammer again as Beast. And yeah, it's a very small cameo, but it is awesome. There's two new characters that I kind of don't care about, but they do look badass anyway. There's Warpath. Yes, he is athletic. He does have some badass scenes. He uses his knife. He jumps all over the place, and Blink helps him a lot. And actually, Blink and Warpath are a duo, and every time Blink makes a portal, and Warpath just go through it and attacks from behind the Sentinel, and yeah, it does look cool, but he barely says anything, and he doesn't leave that much an impression. Sunspot, I call him like the Human Torch, because that's what he really looks like. And yeah, he has this awesome ability to turn his entire body into flames, and then was you doing the Kamehameha, except that it's with flames. And yeah, it looks awesome, but he's a bit of a dumbass. But then again, I guess it kind of makes sense, because they fought the Sentinels just to delay them. They know that everything's going to go wrong and people will die in the end, but still, they were just delaying them to, you know, help Logan go through time and all that stuff. But at the same time, I'm like, really? This guy, not only can he turn his entire body into fire, and he can use flames, but he can fly. He can fly. So I expected him to fly around, distract the Sentinels, and get everyone to safety or something like that, you know, be like a defensive character at that. But no. He stands in one place doing the fire. Well, and the thing about these Sentinels, the ones from the future, they have the ability to mimic other mutant powers, to adapt, to counteract against other mutant powers. These Sentinels are created with the DNA of Mystique, and Mystique has the ability to shift her body and all that stuff. These Sentinels are like the T-1000 from Terminator 2 Judgment Day. So I really like that idea. At first, I really hated the design of the Sentinels, but when you really see them, when you see how they work and all that, then you're like, holy crap, these things are so badass, it's so evil, and actually scary. Their design is scary. They are great, and because they could form any body shape they want, they could turn their hands into giant knives or giant Lady Deathstrike hands, and you see various mutant powers. One is turns their skin into diamonds like Ember Frost, and one becomes like Colossus, and one becomes like Iceman, and the other one becomes like a Sunspot. Yeah, these Sentinels are great. I really like the design on them, and yes, the old school Sentinels are here, and I like the design on them too. And I already already mentioned Blink, and I have to say, she is one of my favorite new mutants in this one, and I just love her power, her ability to create portals, and she is a defensive character, which I really like, and she barely said a word. I don't think she spoke any dialogue, but I'm okay with that, actually, because it's shown in her personality. I like how she looks in this one, and she is beautiful, she is awesome, and her portal thing, wow, it's just great. It's fantastic. Even in the opening battle sequence, she sends Iceman in to ice surf and all that stuff, and then she goes back and teleports Warpath and teleports Colossus, and has Colossus jump into teleportation and drop all the way down, and then keep going down and just hit a Sentinel, and wow. And she could actually do everything on her own, because she was evading Sentinels left and right, you know, making portals so they go in many different directions, so that was pretty cool. And there's a part where she sent Bishop in the air so he could fire at the ships and all that stuff, so that is great. I really love her ability. I'm kind of sad that they did not use her a lot. She's not really in the movie a lot. I would say this movie is 60% of the time is set in the past, 40% of the time it's in the future. There's not much of her, and I really wanted more, but I'm okay with what I got, actually. And I wish he comes back in Age of Apocalypse, because she is great. She is awesome. And I gotta say, the most standout character in this whole movie is one I did not expect. Quicksilver. He did not look right to me. Yeah, I saw the picture of him and I'm like, this is not Quicksilver. This looks like a kid that looks like emo Dante, just with silver hair. I really didn't like the way he looks, and also I don't like the actor playing him. And Evan Peters, who plays Ass Kicker from Kick-Ass, I liked him in that movie, but when I heard that he's cast as Quicksilver, I'm like, dude, they picked out the wrong guy. He should have been Kick-Ass. And you know the funny thing about that? Kick-Ass is Quicksilver, but he's for the Avengers. Isn't that funny? Two people from the Kick-Ass movie end up being Quicksilver. When I watched the final trailer of X-Men Days of Future Past, Evan Peters blew me away. He was funny. I liked his character, his personality. He's cocky, he's sarcastic, he's a rebel, he's a youngster, and he is awesome. He was great. He had a great personality. I really liked him. And I honestly didn't care about how he looks. So I was like, whoa, this is from the trailer. I wonder how he's going to be in the final movie. And turns out he did not let me down. Wow. I am sorry, Evan Peters. I thought you were going to be terrible, but my God, you pulled off Quicksilver. He was playing ping pong by himself at first, and then played pong by himself when Wolverine and James McAvoy and Nicholas Hoult meets up with Quicksilver. And not just that, it turns out that he stole old-style TVs and radios and Twinkies and ding-dongs. He's my man. And because he's a Quicksilver, he speaks so fast, and I like how much detail they put into this character, even though he's only in it for like 10 minutes max. Yes, I wanted more Quicksilver. He is a great character, but if they actually include him more, I felt like this movie could have ended in about 10 minutes, because he could have basically done everything. And the only reason he's willing to break into the Pentagon is because he just wants to break into the Pentagon. His scenes, they stand out so much, because once they get inside the Pentagon, he ties up a guy with duct tape extremely quickly, and then goes into Magneto's lair, and then he has his ability to, you know, vibrate extremely fast, so when he touches the glass shatters, and my God, that is great. And then he takes that Magneto and then dashes through so many cops, and they all go in slow motion and they fall to the ground very fast. He even told Magneto, it's like, oh, because I go so fast, yeah, you're probably gonna hurl. You see Michael Fassbender just about to throw up. He's like, oh, oh, oh. I never thought I would see Michael Fassbender as Magneto wanting to throw up. I did not hear this part, but my friend did. He told me about it. In the elevator, I couldn't hear it at all. I guess he was speaking too fast or something like that, but Magneto did say something about he knows something about magnetism. And Evan Peters said, oh, my mother knows someone like that. When my friend told me that, I'm like, oh my God, are they really addressing the fact that Magneto could be Quicksilver's father in this movie? I like that. That is good. I wonder if they're going to try to do that in the Avengers Age of Ultron, but I highly doubt it. So young Charles Xavier, Wolverine, Quicksilver, and Magneto all show up together, but then the cops are there. These cops have plastic guns and plastic bullets because of Magneto. So they're about to fire at them, but Magneto was about to kill all of them, and Charles Xavier stops him, but at the same time, Quicksilver decides to do his awesome bullet time scene. My God, this bullet time scene is amazing. Wolverine is about to use his bone claws, but he was too slow. The cops are already firing at them, and you know what Quicksilver does? He decides to put on his goggles, put on his headphones, and then just casually run around the walls. Yeah, instead of pushing the bullets away, he decides to leave that at the last second because he knows he can. And he's so cocky and confident. I like the smile in his face when he's doing all this. He had the time to eat food from the kitchen and, take a lick of the sauce or soup. And then he was doing pranks on every single cop. He touched one guy with his finger and it created a ripple effect on his face, like Agent Smith from Matrix Revolution when Neo punched him in the face. And then I think he pulled a wedgie at one of the cops, and then he got one cop to punch himself, and then he got two cops pistol whipping each other, and then he finally decides to go stop the bullets. And what does he do? He just pushes them out of the way with his finger. That was great. And then everything goes back to real time, and then the cops all beat each other up, and the bullets miss, and everyone's looking at Quicksilver. He's like, ugh. And then you don't see Quicksilver again. Well, you kind of do, but for a second after this, he doesn't do anything else important than that. And I was like, "Aw, I miss Quicksilver. He is great," but I understand why they have to do that. I'm not sure what time period Age of Apocalypse is going to be, if it's going to be right after the events of this movie, because if Evan Peters cannot come back as Quicksilver, I'm going to be kind of sad. But I hope Quicksilver is in the next one. Seriously, they could use him a lot more. Evan Peters, I am so sorry about you. You really proved me wrong. Congratulations, you are Quicksilver. And Avengers Age of Ultron people and the Justice League people, take notes, because this is how you do a speedster, okay? Avengers, you have to make sure that your Quicksilver is as good or better than this Quicksilver. And Justice League, you have to make sure that your Flash is as good or better than this Quicksilver, okay? It is great to see Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen back. I really like their relationship at this point, because I like these photos they show on the Chive and some other ones about them being friends and all that in public. But here in this movie, you can tell that they regret fighting each other. They just wanted to be best friends, but it was too late, and this was a very shitty future, so they're trying to make everything right. So they know that they have to go back into the past and try to fix everything. But at that point in the past, James McAvoy and Michael Fassbender, oh my god, they are very good actors. They are cast very well for this. So they are fighting against each other. James McAvoy is angry at Michael Fassbender for taking everything he loves, and Michael Fassbender is angry against James McAvoy because James McAvoy abandoned them. So it is great, and I like the little chess game they played. That was perfect. They are the main characters. Mystique, Charles Xavier, and Magneto. Those are the three core characters in this whole movie. It's not Wolverine and the X-Men. It's actually Professor Xavier, Magneto, and Mystique. Actually, this is more of an X-Men movie than any of the X-Men movies, because they actually cooperate with each other. They help each other. They work well together. So this is probably the definite X-Men movie, actually. Now come to think of it, this is the best X-Men movie. What are you talking about? X-Men First Class finally got the team actually working together, and this one, they got more people working together. So, and not just that, the ending is brilliant, and I'll get to the ending. So the future is very bleak, and like I said, this movie is a lot like Terminator 2, but it really is a lot like Terminator 2, especially the opening of this movie. The opening of this movie is a lot like the opening of Terminator 2, because there's dead bodies everywhere, lying, hundreds of corpses lying around. The city is dark and there's no life, and the only things that you see are sentinels and people going into concentration camps. Wow, this movie is very, very dark. And then you finally see the X-Men after the awesome opening, the opening titles of the X-Men Days of Future Past, and it has very good music. Wow, the music is awesome. It's like a mixture of the First Class theme plus the X-Men trilogy 1, 2, and 3, and a little bit of the animated series, the cartoon series in the 90s, and it blended all those themes together, and it sounds amazing. Man, I really like this theme. And then you see the X-Men we all know and love, but then they have the opening battle, and it's against 3 Sentinels. Only 3 Sentinels caused this much damage. So Blink is making portals here and there and trying to save everyone. Shadowcat is using her phasing through powers, and then she's helping Bishop trying to get to a room, and then Bishop Bishop had his gun and he absorbed Sunspot's ability and then shooting all the Sentinels, but it's not working that well. Sunspot is doing his flame on thing, and Warpath is doing his acrobatic shit, and Iceman does the ice surfing, and then he tries to stop all the Sentinels, but he couldn't, because these Sentinels have the ability to mimic other mutant powers and to adapt against the mutant powers. So when Sunspot was fighting a Sentinel, that Sentinel has Iceman's powers, and Sentinel fighting Iceman has Sunspot's powers, and Colossus has to fight another him as a Sentinel. These guys get brutally murdered. My god, Iceman gets decapitated. Sunspot gets stabbed. Warpath gets burned, and my god, and Colossus gets the shit kicked out of him. I think his head turned into potato salad. My god, I could not believe this. Because there's no blood, this is acceptable, I guess, but man, if this was rated R, there'll be blood splattering all throughout the entire walls in 3D. Ooh. Kitty Pryde has this weird ability that was never explained, that she could send one person's consciousness back through time to their younger version of their consciousness. So she sends a current Bishop into 5 days earlier Bishop. When did she learn this? Because that was never explained in the movie, I think. Yeah, she explained what her power does, but she never explained how she got it and when did she learn it. Hell, when she explained this to Wolverine, the look on Wolverine's face, he's like, seriously, when did you learn this and how did you know? I never read the X-Men Days of Future Past comics, but I know a few pieces of it, so I know Kitty Pryde has to go back to the past. But I believe Rachel Summers is the one who has that ability, so I'm wondering, what the hell? So they combine her with Kitty Pryde? What? So Wolverine is the only one who could do the job because of his healing factor, because he can repair his mind very quickly, and he's the only one old enough to actually go back in time. Him as a plot device, that is good. And this movie mostly focused on everyone else besides Wolverine. Heck, Wolverine doesn't even have the best kick-ass action scenes. That is odd for an X-Men movie at this point. And yeah, Wolverine is awesome. Hugh Jackman is great as the Wolverine, but I'm kind of relieved that he is not the main character in this. Hell, his action scenes, even though they look awesome, just prove how worthless he is in the X-Men Days of Future Past, and I'll get to that. So he wakes up in his younger body, naked, with a sexy hot woman right next to him, and he just realized that he had sex with her. So he wakes up butt naked. Yes, you see his ass, his nice firm ass. Wow. So any of you people are thinking, oh, Jennifer Lawrence is all naked and stuff, you get to see Hugh Jackman. My god, his body looks amazing. He's ripped, and you see his fine, definitive ass. Ooh. So Wolverine fights off these gangsters, and after a very funny conversation, they're like, dude, you're supposed to protect the daughter, not have sex with her. And he's like, I didn't have sex with her. Oh, no? Actually, yes, it appears I did have sex with her, but, you know, would you believe me if I said I'm from the future? And yeah, the part about the 1973 with Wolverine felt a lot like Back to the Future, because he kinda doesn't remember what happened at that point, mostly because he drunk a lot, but he does remember some bits and pieces about it, and he's trying to get acquainted with 1973 all over again, and he felt like he hates that decade or something like that. So he meets up with Hobo James McAvoy and Hank McCoy, and yeah, Nicholas Hoult is great, and I really liked his effect. It's like the Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, or the Incredible Hulk kind of thing. So yeah, that was pretty cool. Even though I don't really understand the serum thing, Hank developed the serum that could lessen the mutant powers or something like that, so young Charles Xavier could actually walk. I'm like, he got shot with a bullet in his spine, so I'm not sure if the serum can actually do that, but also take away his powers at the same time. I don't know exactly how that works. Probably makes sense to some people, but at the same time, I'm okay with it, because it's like an addiction thing, because young Charles Xavier doesn't want to hear these feelings and thoughts of everyone else. He doesn't want to hear voices in his head anymore, because he got too much stress from it. He's very sad that Mystique left and he lost everything, so he doesn't want to hear voices ever again. And then when he hears them again, he gets the syringe and tries to fight that addiction. I thought that was pretty well done. I really enjoyed that. So Wolverine actually convinced young Charles Xavier that he's from the future. So yeah, if a guy like that came to me and he said he's from the future, I wouldn't believe him, but Charles Xavier actually believed him in the end. But what I love is that this little exchange of dialogue, which actually got me pissed off in the theater, but now looking back on it, it was still kind of funny, even though my friend told me that, listen, Charles Xavier is drunk at this point. Of course he couldn't say that right. They referenced the scene from X-Men First Class, and I love this. Charles Xavier is like, wait a second, I remember you. Yeah, we came to you in the bar. Now I'm gonna tell you what you told me. fuck off. And you know what I replied? Yeah, you got it fucking wrong. It's go fuck yourself. 3 fucking words and you got that fucking wrong. I was really pissed off at that point. I was like, he's gonna say the 3 words. He doesn't. I mean, yeah, it's technically the same thing, but at the same time, you're like, seriously, it's go fuck yourself. How do you get that wrong? Then again, my friend said, he is drunk, man. Of course he's not supposed to get it right. I'm like, still I wanted him to say it. But yeah, it was still a funny scene. So Wolverine, Professor Xavier, and Beast decide to go to Quicksilver's house because he's the only one who's fast enough and can do whatever he wants because he's fast enough. They go into the awesome action scene where they break out Magneto, and then they go on the airplane, and they have the drama between young Xavier and young Magneto is great, and especially in the airplane scene, that is fantastic. I really like about that. The point of this movie is to stop Mystique from killing Boulevard Trask, who is played by Peter Dinklage, and yeah, I really like him in Games of Thrones, even though I do not watch the series that much, but he was great, and I really like him in almost every single movie, and in here, he did a fine job, but he didn't really have much to do. I mean, he is throughout this entire movie, but he kind of doesn't have much to do. I mean, his character is good, but at the same time, you wanted something more. He's not like Brian Cox from X-Men 2. William Stryker is in this movie, and he's played by the asshole from Jack Reacher, the one who wanted to fight Tom Cruise. He was good in this. What I like about him is that he gets his ass kicked throughout this entire movie. He's like the comedic relief. It wasn't intentional. It's unintentionally funny because he gets tasered by his own gun. He didn't shoot at himself. It's when he shot at Mystique and Magneto just sends the taser away and makes the taser sting Stryker, and then Stryker gets beat up by Mystique all the time. So yeah, that was kind of funny. So they try to stop Mystique at first, but Magneto decides to kill her. He wants to make sure that the future will be good in the end. When he tried killing her, Beast stopped him, and yeah, this scene was kind of hard to watch because it was pretty dark. Magneto shot Mystique by curving the bullet, and then it hits her leg. So when she tried to escape, Magneto stops her and drags her and pulls her towards him. And as you know, that Mystique doesn't wear any clothing, so there's nothing magnetic on her, but she is dragged because of the bullet in her leg, and I'm like, oh, that gotta hurt. And Jennifer Lawrence is screaming in pain, and you could tell in her face that she is terrified. Magneto is about to kill her with the bullet, and then Beast stops him, and then Beast knocks Magneto down, and Magneto got his head beat up and stuff, so he started bleeding in the water. And yeah, this movie pushes the PG-13 rating to the max. So Mystique escapes, and Magneto escapes, and everyone knows who the mutants are because this was shown in public. So the climactic battle happens in Washington, D.C. Yeah, almost everything happens in Washington, D.C. The Pentagon breakout. Actually, Magneto breaks into the Pentagon to take his helmet back and cape. So that kind of made me laugh. And yeah, everything's in Washington, D.C. Magneto picks up the baseball stadium at Washington, D.C. just to surround the White House with it. And it is an awesome shot. Magneto got the old school Sentinels under his command, and I don't know exactly how he knows about the wiring and all that stuff, but I'm willing to go with it. But at the same time, in the future, because I kind of don't understand this part, because Wolverine has his consciousness from the future, but it's sent into his younger body, but at the same time, it's in real time in the future, so whatever he's doing in the past is at the same time of the future, so he didn't change anything in the future yet. These time travel movies always have to have flaws, but in here, it kind of confused me. I'm like, wait. I thought that if they send his consciousness to the past, it's just in the past. But no, it's in real time. So if he spends 1 minute in the past, he spends 1 minute in the future. So I'm like, whoa, this is kind of weird. I'm not even sure how that works. And because of this, the Sentinels finally caught up with everyone. So everyone is doing their battle poses and then do their fights and all that stuff. But then you see everyone getting killed off. Storm dies. She gets stabbed. She's like the first one to die. Holy crap, they killed off Storm. And not just that, the thing went straight through her stomach. And whoa, you actually see this thing. Bishop dies immediately. He explodes. I'm like, whoa. And then Sunspot's arms get chopped off, and then Warpath gets burned alive. Colossus get torn in half. Torn in half. Oh my god, I felt sad for Blink because she got stabbed 3 times. Not once, not twice, but 3 times by the Sentinel. It's like, ah, ah, ah. So I was like, no, not Blink, not again. She already died in the opening. So it keeps cutting back and forth between the past and the future of fight against the Sentinels. And in the past, Beast and Wolverine were fighting the Sentinels, but only Beast is effective because he could jump around and then cut off the wiring and all that stuff. But Wolverine, you know what? It's very refreshing to see this. Wolverine is worthless. He is! Because of his bone claws, he doesn't have the adamantium yet. And yeah, there were some funny scenes when he went through the metal detector and he expected it to go off, but it doesn't. So he's like, huh? 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 Okay, bub. He never felt that before. He's like, huh? I usually have to get the pat down, but now I'm okay. Because he doesn't have the adamantium claws, his claws are worthless against the space-age polymer plus metal on the Sentinels. So he can't do anything. He can't even make a dent. He can't do shit. But you would think he would be very good against Magneto, right? Because he doesn't have any metal in his body, then he could actually stab Magneto. But no. Because they're surrounded by rubble of the stadium, Magneto decides to shoot rebarb at Logan. And this scene was gruesome even though there's no blood. He throws rebarb and then curls them around Wolverine. I mean, he sticks them in Wolverine and then curls it up because he knows that Wolverine could actually take it out easily. So it is painful to watch, painful to hear. Also, you hear the grinding and Wolverine screaming in pain, and he is helpless. He cannot do shit, and it's like he's crucified except with the metal and all that stuff. And then Magneto decides to just throw Wolverine out of the game, and then yeah, Wolverine is down for the count, and there's like 15 minutes left. Wow, I did not expect that. You expect Wolverine to be the savior for this movie, but no, he gets knocked out completely, and he ends up drowning. And you know what I'm shocked about? You see Rogue in a cameo in the future for the ending, and I know that Bryan Singer filmed an action scene with her for this movie, but decided not to include it because he felt like it's unnecessary. So I wonder what that scene is, because Rogue could have been so helpful in this movie. Really, because of her ability to absorb powers and stuff, she could have helped out a lot. I'm wondering, because it's in the future, probably she mastered the ability so she doesn't actually suck out the life force of everyone she touches. Probably she knows how to control it. I don't know. But yeah, she should have been in this movie a lot. She would have been helpful, because there's this one point where Wolverine accidentally stabbed Kitty Pryde, and Kitty Pryde is bleeding to death. So I'm like, wait a second. Rogue has the ability to absorb powers. Oh my god, probably she's gonna absorb Kitty Pryde's power and do the time thing on Wolverine while Kitty Pryde can go rest or heal or something like that. But no, they don't even do that. But I'm wondering if that's meant to be like that, because I know there's an action scene filmed with Rogue specifically, and I know in the trailers that you see Magneto and Iceman carrying Rogue to safety or something like that. So I'm wondering if that's the scene they're talking about. And not just that, I really want more Rogue in this. And yeah, a lot of people are saying, oh, the movie's butchered Rogue's character, but honestly, that's mostly because Ms. Marvel is not introduced in the X-Men universe yet. I mean, movie-wise. If Ms. Marvel is in it, then Rogue can actually use flight, she could have super strength, she could be in very sexy skin-tight outfits, and also say sugar a lot. But because of that, yeah, she is a bit emo. But Anna Paquin did a great job, I thought. Yeah, I wanted more of her in X-Men 3, but in X-Men 3, even though she was only in the Danger Room, at least she is used for combat. She absorbed Colossus's power to, you know, use for defensive skills. So I'm like, why could you not use one of the most powerful mutants ever in your own X-Men Days of Future Past movie? She should have been more useful in this. And what I like about this is that Mystique is the hero of this movie. The whole thing is about her trying to kill Bolivar Trask, her relationship with her brother, Charles Xavier. They're not brothers and sisters, but they act like brothers and sisters, even though I don't even know why it's not brought up in X-Men 1, 2, or 3. And Charles Xavier basically says, I have faith in you, Raven. You are able to make your own choices. I believe in you. I know you're not a killer, but I'm not going to stop you from making your own decisions. decision. Mystique decides not to kill Boulevard Trask and instead knocks out Magneto. Hell, she shoots him in the throat, and it was on purpose. She kind of missed on purpose. She just wanted to knock Magneto out so Charles Xavier can take over his mind and just pull up the rubble and all that stuff. So I really like that. So in the end, the ending. This has to be one of my favorite parts of this movie besides the Quicksilver action scene, because it rights all the wrongs of X-Men Origins and X-Men 3, because everything is back to normal. Wolverine wakes up in the future, and then he realizes that he woke up in the school. Every student is over there. He sees Rogue with Iceman. He sees Kitty Pryde and Colossus teaching a class. And then he sees Jean Grey. Jean Grey is alive. And not just that, Cyclops is back. James Marsden is back as Cyclops. I was like, whoa, X-Men 3 doesn't exist in this timeline now. And even Wolverine's very surprised at all this. And then he finally talks with Xavier, and Xavier realizes that Wolverine just came back from the time loop and he just didn't know anything about what happened for the past 50 years. And you see Beast. Kelsey Grammer as Beast for about 5 seconds is in this movie, and I'm very, very happy about that. But I gotta say, even though I really like this ending really did make me feel sad. Yes, I like seeing the old faces again. I like seeing Cyclops and Jean Grey alive. Storm is alive as well. Everything is back to normal. Everything is great. It's like the ending of Back to the Future, the movie. I know X-Men 3 doesn't exist anymore, and X-Men Origins Wolverine kind of doesn't exist anymore, but I gotta say, what about the Wolverine? Because I really like the story of the Wolverine. The only reason that Logan goes to Japan is because of the events of X-Men 3. So I'm wondering, if the Wolverine did not happen, then what does that mean about the Asian woman that he fell in love with? Does that mean that she is dead, or she got married or something like that? What happened to her? What happened to his partner? His awesome badass little partner? What happened? I really want to know. I want to know if that means the Wolverine does not exist in this continuity or not, because I thought that movie was really, really good. Yes, 20% sucks, but 80% is very, very good. The Wolverine asked Charles Xavier what happened for the past 50 years. And he's like, oh yeah, I got a lot to tell you. So I feel sad for Wolverine right now, because he's the only one that went through all these events, and then now everything changed in front of him. And not just that, he didn't experience anything for the past 50 years, because everything is new. So probably everything in X-Men 1 changed, everything in X-Men 2 changed. And you know what? What's the weird thing about this? The actual ending to this shows Wolverine getting rescued and picked up from drowning. People realize he's alive, and then you see Stryker. So you're thinking, oh man, Wolverine's gonna have the adamantium skeleton, isn't he? But Stryker is actually Mystique in disguise. So I'm like, wait a second, what? And the thing is that during the ending, you do not see Wolverine take out his claws. You don't even know if they're adamantium or bone. Does that mean that he never met Stryker? He was never under Stryker's influence or something like that? So what does this mean? I want to know! This really hurts my head because I think about it way too much. Yes, I really love the ending. I love how everything turned out, but when I really think about it, I'm like, wait, so X-Men 1, 2, and 3 probably didn't happen, or X-Men Origins Wolverine probably didn't happen, and the Wolverine didn't happen? What the hell? Everything has been rewritten for the best for some reason. But you know what? I'm okay with that, as long as they explain it in X-Men Age of Apocalypse. And yeah, there is the ending, the secret ending after the credits, and you see Apocalypse as a young boy moving the pyramids, creating the pyramids, and then you see the 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse. That looks awesome. That's my thoughts on X-Men Days of Future Past. I really love the movie. It is great. Great action movie, great X-Men movie, and yeah, this movie is very important because for continuity's sake, it really fixed almost everything, I think. Or probably it introduces so many new problems, I don't know. But Bryan Singer, thank you for taking us back, for making us see old friends again, and it feels great. It's, man, what a great feeling. So write down in the comments below what you think of X-Men Days of Future Past. Did you read the comic? Did you like the movie because of the comic? Or did you hate the movie because of the comic? Did you like the movie regardless? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Are you happy about Hugh Jackman? What do you think of Age of Apocalypse? What's going to happen? And anything about the time travel thing, please let me know about what happens, because the continuity thing kind of hurts my head right now. So anyway guys, thank you for watching, and until next time, see ya!